Hey everyone, Tina off the Noah Barfield here, and welcome to Writer's Corner. Alright, first off, big news everyone, Legend Land Tale of the Nameless God is available for free on Wattpad. Second, at the time of this recording, I'm going to a small anime con held at one of the local libraries here, and I'm really just proud of the Wending costume I've made, so I'm showing it off. It's also probably going to be my Halloween costume, so you have that to look forward to at the end of the year as well. But more than that, I also want to talk about writing memorable characters. And what better way to do that than... And what better way to do that than... And what better way to do that than... What?! You look like a stoner. You want the axe? Don't hurt me! First off, what makes the character memorable? Well, you remember them. Yeah. A memorable character is one you think about even after you finish the book. It's one you want to write fan fiction about and help others create fan art about. It's a character you can bring up in conversation and discuss with friends, and even strangers. Hey, we're friends. Kind of. I mean, you're the spazzy one and I'm the good-looking one. And some of you might think, Noah, do I really need memorable characters? Well, if you want forgettable characters, that's your business, I guess. But I should mention that not all of your characters need to be memorable. Your story should have characters that are forgettable or that only serve small functions, ones that serve little niches or fitting cliches. If all of your characters are memorable, then none of your characters are memorable, and that's something to think about. Ah, Noah, you're worrying me! How do I create memorable characters? Well, I have some tips on how to do just that. The first thing you want to do is plan your characters beforehand. Planning is essential. Maybe you should have thought about that with this video. Like I said, planning is important. Knowing what's in store for your characters beforehand, having their personalities and interests planned out, all of that, knowing that is invaluable. It's also important to create realistic, relatable emotions in your characters. Your characters won't be memorable if we can't relate to them or see this happening to them in a hypothetical scenario. Let your story be that hypothetical scenario. If you're dealing with complex emotions, make sure that you have a relatable base emotion that people can understand and feel and empathize with. It's also important to put your characters in situations that we may be able to relate to or that we have seen enough that we can empathize or sympathize with. Another thing you want to do to help create memorable characters is to alternate between putting them in interesting and in boring environments and situations. If you're constantly putting your characters in mind-boggling, attention-grabbing environments, we may have a difficult time focusing on these characters, and that's not what we want to do whenever we want our characters to be relatable. On the other hand, if you're constantly creating boring or easily forgettable situations, we may focus on your characters too much, and we may start to analyze them deeply. Think about that for a moment. Is that really what you want your readers doing? Alternating between forgetful and interesting environments and situations should complement your characters nicely. It should help create a big impact whenever your character stands out and makes a difference in an already exciting and interesting situation, and it should help your characters stand out even more whenever you have a boring environment that makes them pop out and seem larger than life. It's also important to have your characters in scenes with stereotypical or uninteresting extras. I'm not the extra, you're the extra. This is what the audience wants. You know, you're just quickly turning from the rational one into the joke one. Side characters are here for a reason, or, well, a few reasons, actually. One of the biggest ones is to make your main characters look more interesting. Should you have a story full of boring, uninteresting, forgettable side characters? No, of course not. Maybe they livened it up, maybe they made it more serious, or maybe they just contributed in a way that your main characters couldn't at that moment, that you created in a unique and refreshing way. But having some forgettable or uninteresting side characters that occasionally fit into cliches will make your main characters stand out more. It makes them seem more exciting and interesting just by comparison. However, it's important not to overdo this, because you may make your main character seem like a bully, or you yourself may seem like the bully whenever you have lots of boring characters just to lift your main characters up. Your main characters should be interesting on their own, so you really want to tread carefully here, as you may get some harsh criticism if you do this too much. And finally, make your main characters interesting. Noah, that seems pretty obvious. Well, yeah, It is. That's the biggest thing you can do, though, to make memorable characters. Nobody remembers the plucky teen girl who doesn't fit in and likes pizza. That's a story we've heard before. Give your character different hobbies and interests that set them apart. Oh, this is a plucky teen girl who doesn't fit in, but likes to fence and sword fight and also do archery and occasionally actually likes to put on makeup because, hey, she's a lady, so sometimes she likes to feel feminine. That starts to set your main character apart. And it may seem trivial, but try not to give your characters names that are incredibly difficult to pronounce. It may be difficult for your readers to remember them except for, hey, that one alien with the weird name! I'm guilty of doing this occasionally myself. In Legendland especially, there are several names that can get a little more difficult to pronounce, most of the time because they are foreign or different combinations of words or have Latin roots that people just aren't used to. However, I do try and do this sparingly, though in Legendland Tale of the Nameless God, there's a little more weird names in there, I will admit, and I do try and have more normal names, or at least shorter weird ones that people can easily pronounce and don't have lots of hard consonants right next to each other. It's also important to give your characters unique personalities that you took the time and effort to create from scratch. We're not going to care about these characters if you didn't care enough about them to take the time to make a wonderful, unique personality, or maybe a terribly atrocious one. Create tough and difficult situations for your characters to be in, that lets their personalities shine through, that makes their flaws obvious but their strengths all the more apparent. We don't want invincible characters. We remember the times whenever your characters struggled, broke, and triumphed. We remember the times whenever we were down in the pits and in the trenches with these characters, whenever we were going through emotional heartbreak and devastation with them, whenever we were uplifted and picked up at just the right moment. We remember the funny, happy times whenever your characters made us feel better, and we remember the times whenever we related on a base animalistic level to these characters. And we also remember snappy one-liners, but use these with caution. As a final word, I just want to say it's easy to create memorable characters. If you're having trouble, try some interesting or new things to broaden your horizons. He's calling you boring. Just get out of here! Okay, fine. Like I said, it's easy to create memorable characters. If you're struggling, maybe indulge some weird or unique tastes of yours or things that you've heard about, and you may find it easier to create memorable and interesting characters. Now that we've got all of the annoying things out of the way, and I've talked about creating memorable characters for a sufficient length of time, it's time to brag about my book. My novel, Legendland, this fantastic piece of literature right here, is available on a plethora of places. You can get it on Amazon, iTunes, Barnes & Noble, Smashwords, my publisher's website, or my website, www.arc-storm.com. And if you order it off of there, I'll personally sign it for you. No, not with the X. And speaking of ArcStorm, if you have questions or wondering about things that I don't cover in these videos for some odd reason, and you don't feel like sharing your words with the world in the comments section, go to ArcStorm and click the little contact button and you'll be directed to me. As long as it's not too personal or spam, I won't throw it in the incinerator, and you'll pretty much get a quick response from me as long as I am not dead or otherwise occupied. You can also use that little contact button to see if I'm able to speak at a bookstore, library, or school in your area. Beyond ArcStorm, you can stalk me online on a plethora of places. Find me on Facebook, Twitter, Goodreads, Wattpad, and YouTube, obviously, where you can subscribe and comment below. And speaking of Wattpad, don't forget to check out my new companion story, Legendland Tale of the Nameless God, every Friday. I'm posting the link below, and I will keep doing that until I'm finished with it. And then I'll probably keep doing it just to remind you how great my writing is. So I hope everyone devours Legendland Tale of the Nameless God on Wattpad, that you all found these tips helpful, that you liked the Winding costume as much as I liked making it, and that you continue to enjoy.